What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be making a video regarding why you should stop buying video games and buy into the company that makes your video games instead. And so this conversation sparked from my cousin and I. He just turned 15. I'll keep him nameless. And we were having a conversation about Call of Duty. And he said he wanted to buy the new Modern Warfare that was coming out. And just like all the other Call of Duties, they've been the same thing, slightly refreshed, but it's basically the same old game. And it's been that way since 2009 when Modern Warfare 2 came out, and that was probably the height of Call of Duty, in my opinion, from my personal gaming experiences. And so I was telling him, instead of buying the next Call of Duty, why don't you invest in the Activision stock? And so I went on Wikipedia, and we're looking, let's see when the Call of Duty that I recognize and that he recognizes first came out. And so Modern Warfare 2 was released November 10th, 2009. And so if we go, this is Yahoo Finance, by the way. So if we go to November 2009, we can see that Activision closed at $11.39 a share. And so the average Call of Duty game costs $60. So let's use that as our base. So we're spending $60 on Activision shares. And so I found this cool little calculator online, and basically tells you how many shares you would buy and the reoccurring investments of $60. So say you bought the Call of Duty every year up until 2018, and it accounts for dividends. So the first year, when Modern Warfare 2 came out, you would get roughly 5 shares. And that's with your $60 initial investment. After buying that Call of Duty for the next 9 years, like the next Call of Duty that came out, so let's go down the list. That means you would buy MW2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Ghost, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, World War 2, Black Ops 4, and then the new Modern Warfare that should be coming out. Instead of buying those Call of Duties, let's say you just put your $60 in Activision each and every time, your investment would be worth $1,681.97, meaning you would have a 44% return rate over a 9-year period, which is absolutely killer, because if you look at the S&P 500, you're looking at around 7 to 8% returns. And so a 44% return just investing in the company that you would normally buy the video game for is absolutely mind-blowing. And so let's break this down a little bit more. And this also accounts for the yearly dividends. And so you can see you have your dividend payments, and it goes up each and every year. And so looking at this chart and looking back at when each Call of Duty was released, when you purchase your first 5 shares from Call of Duty, instead of buying the game, which is a depreciating, not necessarily asset, but we'll call it an asset. So you're purchasing a $60 game, which is going to be worth like $5 from GameStop within like a year. And so instead of doing that, you can invest your money into the actual company. And if we just look, if you do that year over year, you can see even from starting in 2009, this growth, you can see they hit a height, their high of, let's see what number is that, 83, and then now currently they're back down to 45. So we don't know what was going on there. Perhaps it was greatly inflated by some sort of video game, but if we just ignore that and we look at like an average, we can see the moving curve, we're probably doing just right with the growth at what they should be doing. And this is just like a cool food for thought, that instead of buying video games, which, I mean, you typically play for a couple of months with your friends, yeah, it's fun for a couple of months, but then it gets boring, then you never play it again, why don't you consider investing in the company in which you would rather play video games for? So if you're into Call of Duty, invest into Activision, and see where that takes you. Because imagine you started, I started playing video games in the 7th grade. Imagine I started, instead of playing video games, just investing the amount I would spend on one video game into the company, I would have a cool $1,600 basically. And let's see, 60 times 9 is $540. And here, I'll do this on the screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. Let's pull up a calculator. All right. I did that on my handheld calculator, and so I'll just do it on the screen just so you can see what I'm doing. So $60 over a 9-year period is $540. That's the total amount invested. And our growth, accounting for dividends, is minusing our initial investment. So we would have made over $1,000. And now, I don't know about you, but starting in the 7th grade, buying a video game for $60 where you had to beg your parents to get it, and then now being graduated from college, it would be really cool to have an extra $1,000 laying around simply because I didn't want to play some video game that GameStop gave me $5 for when I went to trade it in. And so now imagine if we scaled that. Let's say your parents gave you a budget of, let's see, 3 games a year. And so you would spend $180 because I know I personally had multiple games a year. So let's say $60 per game. You got 3 games a year, and instead of getting those 3 games, you just invested in Activision because let's say most of your games were made by Activision Blizzard at the time. Your $180 investment year over year would turn out to be over $5,000. So let's say 180. Let me do this on the screen again so you can stay with me. $180 times 9 is $1,620. So that $1,620 is your initial investment, not accounting for growths. Our actual final value would be $5,317. We'll keep the change out this time. Minus our initial investment of $1,620, and you would have made $3,600 simply not paying or not buying video games. Now let's get even more crazier. Let's just do this for the sake of the video. Let's say you didn't buy a console because at the time, what, a PlayStation or Xbox was like $300-400. Let's just say $350, plus the $180 you would have spent on video games. So it's $530. Let's say the $530 was your initial investment, and then you regularly invested $180 because that's how much you would have bought for your video game cost. Let's see, over $6,800. So this just goes to show you that if you were to not buy the video games you would normally buy, which is a depreciating asset, and instead invest it in something that could potentially grow. Obviously, there's risk and reward here when investing in the stock market, but specifically Call of Duty, which is their company's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. It's just some food for thought that instead of wasting money on video games, you could be investing for your future. So that way you could, if you look at all the startup costs, let's say you were into gaming and you were into competitive gaming, because I know I was into competitive gaming, and you got a pair of Astro A40s, which were like $275 at the time. And so let's say you got your console, got a couple games, you got your Astros, your initial investment is $805. And let's say you wanted to get into YouTube videos at the time, because that's what everybody was getting into. So you wanted a PVR, and I remember those were like $200. So let's add another $200 to that. So we already have $1,005 just to play some video games and make some YouTube videos. Buying 3 games a year, let's say we're still investing into Activision here, you're looking at $9,000 from a $1,000 investment with $180 year over year. So we're looking at around $1,600 total investment, growing to over $9,000 simply not playing video games. Now, I don't know about you, but video games are fun, but as you get older, you're going to want a car, you're going to want, who knows what you're going to want at the time, but imagine having an extra $9,000 in your pocket simply because you didn't buy a video game that was a depreciating asset. And so that's just some food for thought of not buying Call of Duty and not buying video games, but instead investing in the company that creates these video games, because you too could have growth of over 40-something%. And even when accounting for these giant numbers here, 20-something% growth, that is excellent. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, a like, or if you didn't like the video, just leave. If you want me to make another video, let's say talking about shoes, because people are into Yeezys, people are into Nike, and instead of spending $200-300 on a pair of shoes, what that would be like investing in them, I will gladly make a video on that topic. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.